Hey guys, how you going? Alright, I'll move on to the next fact. Okay, next fact. You may feel a static feeling up your legs and back when they are near you. I personally recognise this and notice this myself. Best way I can explain it is when the presence of the Archons or these entities are around you, you will feel it's almost like a pins and needles feeling, a static feeling. Me personally, I feel it up the back of my legs and up the back of my spine. If you yourself notice this, it is most likely a very good indication that these life forms, these spirits, interdimensional beings, entities, these Archons are most likely around you or within close proximity with you at that time. So that's something to be aware of, and just keep an eye out for it. You may very well notice this from time to time. Alright, on to the next fact. Next fact. They are able to read our thoughts. Sounds crazy, I can assure you it is true. I know this, and I've learnt this basically when I first encountered these Archons. I actually provoked a response out of them simply using nothing but thought. I did not vocalize or verbalize anything I was thinking within my mind. I simply provoked a response out of them purely with thought, and they responded. They retaliated back to me. I've since learned that yes, they do indeed have the capabilities and means to be able to read our thoughts. I understand this sounds completely crazy, but I can assure you 100% it is very true. They can read our thoughts, read our mind, they know what we're thinking. Basically, another reason or proof that I actually know is when I first encountered them, they were basically making threats to kill and harm me at work, and I had thoughts of, I'm going to be hit by a forklift, run over by a forklift, or have a pallet dropped on me, or things like that. And they knew exactly what I was thinking and pretty much mimicked these scenarios that I thought in my head, mimicked it right to the point where I was terrified. They didn't actually kill me, but they had me thinking that basically they are going to perform the exact scenarios that I had going in my mind to the T to basically kill me. So yes, they can read our thoughts. I can guarantee you this, people. Alright, next fact. They can manipulate TV, radio, mobile devices and use it against us. I've noticed this personally and witnessed it and know it to be true. They actually have the means and capability to manipulate all media, television, radio, internet, pretty much every device, all these gadgets and bits and pieces you see around the world, they have the ability to manipulate it. I've personally witnessed them on a television broadcast, say like David Letterman's show or the Jimmy Kimmel show, things like that, where they can actually host not only the presenter on that television show, but guests that are actually on the show, host them and use that person to send subliminal taunts, like vibrations, sounds and tones, whisper tones to you via the television waves. I've noticed this personally. Another thing I've noticed personally too, and I know this sounds crazy, but I can assure you it's true, they can manipulate cartoons. I've had full cartoons, one full episode of cartoons that had subliminal taunts, teasings and manipulations implanted into it, directed specifically at me. And I've got to be honest, it's actually quite amazing what they can do, but I assure you it is very true and well within their capabilities and means. Take a good look around, people. You will notice that mobile phones now, smartphones, are handed out to the masses. This is done deliberately. You'll notice flat screen televisions now are pretty much everywhere. You go to a petrol station or a gas station and go to pump your petrol or your gas into your vehicle. What's right there at the petrol or the gasoline pump? A flat screen television. You go into the service station. What's all through there? Flat screen televisions. You go to shopping centres, shopping malls. What's all through there? Flat screen televisions. These things are planted throughout society everywhere because they're used as tools to basically send through subliminal programming. Taunts, manipulations, sounds, vibrations, whisper tones, chimes, all these things are planted throughout society. Everyone has smartphones these days. What the masses don't realise is these are all tools that are used by the Archons. Yes, they can be used for good, but they can actually fundamentally use it all to manipulate and pretty much send subliminal information to us all, right under our noses without us even realising. These are tools that they use against us. So please be aware of that. I can assure you it is very true, very true. Alright, next fact. They will host your family, friends, children and loved ones in an attempt to anger you. I personally have witnessed this. They have used it on me many times, numerous times. They have actually hosted my beautiful partner. I have 2 beautiful children, 2 boys. They've actually hosted them and used them as a means to taunt and tease me and basically harass me. I get this on a rather regular basis. I've got to be honest, that they would do this because they know that family, friends, people that are close to you, your loved ones, if they harass you through them, they know that it will affect you and hurt you. And I've got to be honest, I myself have fallen for it many times. It is hard when your significant other, your loved one, your partner, or your children are pretty much used as tools to attack you, to taunt you, to tease you, to try and manipulate you. And I've got to be honest here, excuse the language, but when my children are used as a tool, as a means, a tactic to attack me, I've got to be honest, it tends to fucking piss me off. And they know this. They have basically taunted me many times with this tactic, and I've got to be honest, it does work. I find it very hard to deal with at times, but I'm learning to accept it and doing my best to move on from these tactics and manipulations that they use upon me. So that's something to be aware of, people, and I can assure you it is very true and a tactic they will use upon you. Alright, next fact. Alright, next fact. They need us more than we need them. Just remember that. I'll go on further with information in regards to that further either in this video or other videos that follow. But this is something for you all to remember, that we are essential to them. They just don't want us to know this, okay? I'll explain further on in other videos, but yes, that is very true and something you should all realise and remember. Alright, next fact. Okay, they hate orgonite, laughter, love, caring, compassion, consideration, and being thoughtful for other people. These are all, love, caring, laughter, all these things are positive emotions that give off energy in a positive format, a positive vibration. They do not like this. The good entities out there do, and the good ones are the ones that are actually trying to help us. They're doing their best to try and help us. They see and realise how heavily influenced we are by the negative forces, that they are doing the best they can with the means they have and the abilities they have to try and help us all. So pretty much the more happy-go-lucky, fun-loving, caring, compassionate and more of a decent person you are, this is unfavourable to the Archons. If anything, it actually drives them away. My advice to you is act the clown, have a joke, be funny, try your best. It's well within your capabilities, your means, your limits to just try and be a good person. Just little things like day-to-day things where if you'll notice if you walk in a door and there's someone behind you, just a little common courtesy, hold the door open for them as they walk in, little things like that. Say a kind word to someone, just little things on a day-to-day basis we can all do that can basically help drive them away. If you're too positive, too happy, too fun-loving and caring, they do not like this environment, and you will, in a sense, actually drive them, repel them away from you. So, something to keep in mind. Alright, next fact. Drugs and alcohol gives them a better chance to attack and to host you. That's why pretty much alcohol is everywhere. Drugs, although considered illegal, are still prevalent. They're everywhere throughout society across all countries. While drugs and alcohol are readily available to the masses, what it does is, in a sense, when you drink alcohol or take drugs, it actually weakens you psychologically, spiritually, and energetically. It basically makes you more susceptible to their hosting, to their attacks, to their manipulation. I've noticed this personally out at clubs and things like that, or out at social events where people have ever had drugs or alcohol, anything like that. Pretty much what it does is the Archons, it allows them, because your senses are weakened, it allows them to basically host you and use you for manipulations or manipulate you. Another key fact that I've noticed too in regards to drugs and alcohol is our native Australian people, the Aboriginals. The biggest problem in their community across their people is alcohol and drugs. This is done to them deliberately, like I said earlier in a previous video, is because all the people that basically had a spirituality or are in tune and could pick up and sense these people, drugs and alcohol is normally a big problem amongst their communities. This is done to them deliberately because while they're too busy being drunken under the effects of drugs and other psychedelics, things like that, it basically it detaches them from their true spirituality, their true nature. So it's just another thing I've noticed personally. Even in Australia where I'm from, pretty much we have across the world we have heroin addicts and things like that. But I find it strange that these people that are heroin addicts and all that, they actually have methadone programs where, pretty much these heroin addicts, if they can't afford to buy their drugs, they will give them methadone. And now to the average person, they look at that and think, oh, well, it's just helping the addicts and trying to stop this and stop that and crime and break-ins and theft and things like that. But in a sense, what it's actually doing is keeping those people pinned down, chained down. The effects of those drugs, hard narcotics and opiates and things like that, basically take over the body and will keep you in a negative state and will actually make you do bad things in order to feed that habit. Now, it's funny because these people that are on these sorts of drugs, that they have means and medical technologies these days where they could take a person who is, say for argument's sake, a heroin addict, put them in a drug-induced coma, and in a month or so later, they bring them back, wake them up, and they're actually clean with what appears to be a Narcan pill under their skin. So even if they do try and take heroin or anything like that later on, the effects won't actually work on them. So these people, if they truly want to, mind you, if they truly want to clean themselves up, these sort of technologies are available for them. So pretty much the whole lifespan of one of these addicts, and mind you, people look at these addicts and go, oh, what a druggo, what a bum, you're hopeless, you're lost. I look at them and think, what chain of events have happened in your life to lead you to this point where you are right now? I can guarantee you, I can assure you, every child when asked at school, what do you want to be when you grow up? I guarantee you not one says, I want to grow up and be a drug addict and, steal from my family and hurt people and kill and murder to support a drug habit. No child would ever say that. What things have happened in their life to lead them to these points? Most likely, I guarantee you, Archon influence. That's what's happened to them. But getting back to that anyway. So the drugs and alcohol, so these people could be sent away, come back a productive member of society and clean. But no, and that mind you, that'd be a one-off, say a $5,000 payment to fix that person's life forever. Instead, they keep their pain and suffering ongoing by offering them substitutes like methadone, things like that, buprenorphine tablets, things like that are all through the prison system. This is done deliberately because while a person throughout their life is dragged out and held down by these drugs, in a sense, they are pretty much chained down and giving off energy for these Archons. They don't want these people cured and healed and, fixed of their drug addiction and problems. They want to prolong it and keep it going. So while they're prolonged and hooked on these drugs and, throughout their lifespan, the cost on society alone and all that it costs a fortune, but they don't care. It's in regards to the money as opposed to the energy they give off, which is energetic food or used for their dark forces, their powers. They're willing to do that at the risk and sacrifice of that person's soul, that person's well-being. Pay attention to it, people, and you will know that what I've just said now in regards to drugs and alcohol is very true. All right, moving on to the next fact. All right, next fact. Past traumas, tragic events, in your life basically leave open doorways and gates for them to attach to you and to attack you. Most likely, a lot of the tragic events and past traumas and things that you hold negative ties to that have happened to you in your life, most likely were at the hands or under the influence of the Archons. What you need to do, people, and please take this on and listen and do your best. All past traumas and tragic events, things that have happened to you in your life, you must learn to accept them and move on. While you still hold negative ties and things that have happened to you in your past and in your life, essentially you're leaving open gates, open doorways, not only for these Archons to attach themselves to you, but for them to use as tools to taunt you, tease you, and hold against you. While you're still, holding negative ties, they will say things that relate to these things that, mind you, most likely they have caused to you, but they're not going to tell you that. So they will say things in regards to all these negative things that have happened to you in your life, which will bring about negative reflections, negative memories, negative feelings, emotions. You'll think back to the time when these bad things were happening to you, or the pain, the hurt, the sorrow that you encountered during these events. The best thing you can do is face these things, close the doors, and move on for your own good, so to speak. You'll find once you do, you close these doors, these gates, it makes it a lot harder for them to basically attack you, to tease you, to hurt you, to manipulate you. So in a sense, you're putting yourself in a better position to defend yourself against them. All right, next fact. Okay, this fact is very interesting. All right, next fact. The key to their power is secrecy. Without it, they can be stripped of power easily. What I mean by this, people, is the key to their power and the hold that they have upon all of us is based entirely upon secrecy. Without it, no secret, no power. What that basically means is they could be affecting you and manipulating you and making changes in your life that have caused you nothing but strife, grief, pain and sorrow. Now, if you're unaware of them, you just naturally assume that I'm just having a bad run of luck. This is the way things are going for me. No, most likely it was under the influence of the Archons that are doing these things to you. If you have an understanding and know what they are, who they are, their means, their capabilities, their tactics and manipulations, once you are educated, well educated, and have a good understanding of them and of their means and tactics, their secret is gone. The secret about them is gone. While they are kept secret from you, you are in a sense handing them their power over you. Once you're aware of them and know the secret's up, then it makes it a lot harder. They do not want this. That's why they try so hard to keep their secrecy, because once people know about them, the secret's up, the power is greatly diminished upon the masses. Something for you all to remember. Okay, people, that is very important, very important. All right, moving on. Okay, next fact. They can burst you with positive and negative emotions. I personally have witnessed this myself. Now, when they burst you with dark, negative, constricting feelings, emotions, energies, consciously, now mind you, if you encounter these beings, right, and you're trying to do research, understand who they are, what's actually going on, what's happening to you in your life, they will burst you negatively, right? So consciously you think, oh, this isn't right, this isn't the right way to go. So you'll steer clear of it, thinking that's negative. Then they'll actually burst you with positive energy. And you're thinking consciously, oh, this is a positive feeling, I feel good about it. So you'll think that, oh, well, this is the right way to go. Now, not all times, mind you, but a good majority of the times it's actually the opposite. What they will do is, if you're doing research and you're very well onto something that has major significance in regards to them, they will actually burst you negatively to have you think, oh no, this isn't a good thing, when technically you may very well be onto something that they do not want you to know or understand. So they will burst you negatively to steer you away from it. So too, when they burst you positively, they burst you positively and you're thinking this is the right way to go, when actually, in fact, it's not. They're bursting you positively because they want to steer you off into the wrong path, the wrong direction. So sometimes in regards to the being burst with negative and positive energies, The best advice I can give you is trust your own better judgment, trust your heart. Your heart and your own better judgment will not steer you wrong. As long as you follow them, then there's a good chance you will make it through and have a better understanding at the end of your experience. Alright, moving on to the next fact. Alright, next fact. They will play good cop, bad cop with you. I personally noticed this myself. Now, what I mean by good cop, bad cop is, like now, how I'm doing these videos to share what I've learnt with you all. Every time I would go to do this, or do a video or write down information and facts and tips and things that I've learnt along my experiences, along my encounters, they were psychologically, basically subliminally trying to, and consciously mind you, trying to convince me that, oh look, be the bigger and better person, rise above conflict, there's no need to fight against us, don't tell the people, don't share what you've learned, you don't want to scare the people. So this is what I mean by good cop. Then comes bad cop. When I would go to do a video like I'm doing now, or speak to people in regards to my encounters and what I've experienced, and basically try and give them a better understanding of what's actually going on in regards to these Archons, they would play bad cop. They would get very nasty, very negative, and they would lash out at me. This is what I mean in regards to good cop, bad cop. They will use these tactics against you also in order to try and steer you away or manipulate you down the wrong path. Alright, what I'll do, I'll wrap this video up for now here, and pretty much, follow on to the next video if you wish to learn more, and I guess I'll see you on the next video. Thank you very much for your time.